Dylan Nolan here for Fitsnews. I'm joined by Carlton Walker, running for the State House down in the Low Country. And I was especially interested to talk to you, Carlton. We met in North Charleston at Donald Trump's rally. We spoke there for some time. We then met again in Dorchester County for Matt Lieber and Sandy Sen's debate. We had great conversations at both. But the thing that really struck out about why you're running uh, and what interests you in state government is that you really care about the issue of judicial reform closely. So, first, would you like to talk a little bit about who you are, why you're running for office, what you do for a living, and then maybe we can get into that issue?
Well, I'm Carlton Walker. I'm a licensed residential builder. I got my license this February. Before that, I was a specialty contractor in masonry, carpentry, and painting. As you can see up there, that's I'm a fourth generation veteran. That's me in the blue shirt, and that's General Colin Powell. Served in Somalia in '93. He was in charge of the whole operation. It was a pleasure to do that. I'm also a real estate broker. I'm also a concealed weapons permit instructor. That basically means I can teach people to get their concealed weapons permit. I'm SLED certified, all that good stuff. And the reason I'm running, one other thing, I'm a native of District 15, also a low country native. The guy I'm running against, he'll tell you he's a low country native to give you the impression he's a low country native of District 15. He's actually not. He's from Hampton County, where Alex Murdaugh's from. And a little side note, Alex Murdaugh actually gave him money for his campaign. And to this day, as we're speaking, I don't believe he's ever given that money back to the Victims Fund. Alex, of course, we all know, killed his wife and son and pled guilty to stealing millions of dollars. Why am I running? The reason I'm running, I had an issue, and I reached out to the current representative and actually sent letters out to the Charleston County delegation, which consists of all the senators and the House members in Charleston. So the only person that responded back to me was Mark Smith from Daniel Island. And you would think the guy from Daniel Island, who represents a fairly super rich area, would ignore the little guy over here in North Charleston that was a handyman doing masonry, carpentry, and painting. Mark Smith actually sent me a letter telling me what to do, where to go, and it helped me out tremendously. My representative, J.A. Moore, never replied back. I was a little disappointed because I used to, back in 2007 to 2012, had a landscaping company, and I maintained, one of my clients was Hooters Restaurant, and I used to cut their grass and clean their yard every Wednesday. And after cleaning their yard, I'd go in and have some wings and watch the game. And then, of course, J.A. Moore would come in there and recently said he had never thought about running for office. He actually talked to me back in 2008. I remember having many debates about Barack Obama with him, and he said he's going to get into politics and run. And recently in his interview on 24, he said he never thought about running. That's false. So I was really upset that we were actually friends. We didn't agree on things. But when I had an issue and he ran on, if you elect him, he's going to give more justice, and he didn't follow through with his commitments. And from going door to door, I've met, I can't even count how many people. I went to show a lady just the other day the video of, no more J.A. Moore. She's like, no, I don't want to hear anything about that. And I was like, what do you mean? I don't want to hear anything about Mr. Moore. I reached out to him to help me. He didn't reply back. I was like, whoa. It's not, it's showing, that's what I'm talking about. And then she was like, oh, well, let me see it, which is crazy. And I've had multiple people that were on his campaign in the beginning. They've actually come to help me. Major people that have helped him get to where he is have actually helped me. So my slogan is, whether you vote red or blue, vote Carlton Walker is for you. Like, look, man, I know you just said I was at the Trump rally. Of course, I'm going to vote for Mr. Trump. But if someone votes for Harris and they're in my district, I'm not going to ignore them. Like, I was walking through a trailer park, going door to door, and however you vote, you're still my constituent. And if you have an issue, if you put me in this game, you will not regret it. I will not ignore you. I just got counted them this morning, 67,000 views on Facebook from Friday till this morning. From a situation, from going to door, this person who lives in a mobile home said that they would vote for me if I would clean the sidewalk. And I'm like, what sidewalk are you talking about? Just go out to the front of our trailer park and turn left and down to where I go to my doctor's appointment the next road up. Like, there's so much dirt on the sidewalk. He said I would tilt and almost get dumped into the road with trucks coming by going 50. And so I walked out there and I saw it. Actually, I drove out there and I saw it. And so I reached out to the city to come clean it. 2 weeks went by, nothing happened. On Friday, I'm like, look, Friday afternoon, I was like, hey, I'll be out here tomorrow at 10 o'clock cleaning this sidewalk with a shovel. Who wants to join me? And that video by itself got 26,000 views. And then I ended up going out there and I started cleaning it myself, man. Nobody showed up. And then all of a sudden I looked down the road and here's this little yellow machine digging. And George with JG Landscape Solutions, if you need somebody, man, he brought his machine. And if he hadn't done that, then all of a sudden it started trickling. More people started showing up. And amazing photos have over, I think, close to 1,000 likes just on the pictures from that event. So we cleaned from his trailer park to his doctor's appointment. And then I was like, hey, George, you think we could clean from here down to the grocery store too? We must have did a half a mile to 3/4 of a mile of sidewalk that the city had neglected, man. So, like I say, whether you vote Trump or Harris, scroll down, vote Carlton Walker so we can bring District 15 up.
So it's really just like, I mean, you're talking about this constituent service problems, and you're just getting hands-on before you even get your hands on any levers of power
You see these
potentially here.
fingers? Oh, wait, let me show you this hand. I mean, get my hands dirty.
That's a working man's hand.
Yeah, come on, man. Put me in, coach.
If you're in Columbia, what would you advocate for as far as reforms of how our court system works?
Well, for starters, as a fourth-generation veteran, I believe God only burdens those who can carry a burden and make other people's lives better in the future. I've had my eyes open to every I, every T of the law. But as a fourth-generation veteran, here's the problem. Our court system is not following the 14th Amendment. They're not following the 6th Amendment. They're not following the 7th Amendment. I have a serious problem. In boot camp, I want you to imagine this for a second. After having our butts busted for 3 days straight, I'm talking about sleep deprived where you didn't know you could go 3 days with only like 15 minutes of sleep every few hours. They give you these crazy naps. And being physically exhausted, my company commander unfurls this American flag in the center of our company. And he tells all 60 guys to gather around, grab a thumb and a finger on the flag, chest to butt, all the way around this flag. So picture all the way around an American flag, 60 guys just squished in trying to hold on to an edge. And all of a sudden he says, I want you to look at every single man in this room. Make eye contact with each of you. And we're like, man, what is he doing? And then all of a sudden he says one of the most profound things I've ever heard in my entire life. He says, some of you in this room are never going to make it out of the United States military alive. You're going to die what the Constitution stands for and defending this flag that you're holding right now. This is the one and only shot I'll give you to walk out the door, and I'll let you out of the military. If not, then you're staying in. Not one man left, but for all those who gave all, you're going to tell me in my state we have courts that are not following the Constitution, that I've had shipmates, airmen, Marines, Army guys give their lives and die for? You're going to tell me that you're not going to follow the 14th Amendment, the 6th or the 7th in our family courts? Not on my watch, sir. So, the 14th Amendment, let me cover that one. That basically says if you try to take someone's land, they have the right to a jury to decide if you can take their land. Well, we have Supreme Court cases, the United States, that says a child is more valuable than your land. Everybody would agree with that, right? You give up your land before you give up your child. So the 14th Amendment kicks in. Texas is the only state in the United States that abides by the 14th Amendment in family court. If the state is trying to take away your kid for an emergency basis, sure, they'll take your kid. But guess what? Within 90 days, you have an option to have a jury decide if the state can continue to keep your kid. Well, why would you want a jury? Oh, because your ex's lawyer is buddies with that judge that's sitting on the bench that you're going to go in front of. The only way to break that relationship is to have a jury. Because guess what? The jury does not care that your ex's lawyer goes out fishing with that judge and fills up that guy's boat with gas when they go out, or that they go meet at these fancy dinners. And you're like, wait a minute, we had all the facts in our case. We should have won, but the judge went for the other side. This is pretty nuts. So the only way to break that favoritism and nepotism is a jury. Now, that's Texas. The 7th Amendment says any civil amount over $20, you have the right to raise your hand and say, I want a jury to decide if I have to pay this $20 or more. Is child support over $20?
Oh, yes.
Is alimony over $20?
Most certainly.
Are legal fees you got to pay your ex's lawyer over $20?
A whole hell of a lot more than $20.
Okay, so check this out. Our neighbor state, Georgia, offers jury trials in family court for child support, alimony, legal fees. Because guess what? If you have a jury say you're paying this, you can't bitch. You can't, that's your amount, dude. Like, they'll tell you, well, we got child support set up. It's just a formula. We just put your amount in and bang, here's how much you pay. No, that's not how this works. Every case is different. So guess what? That's Georgia. The 6th Amendment, our own Supreme Court of South Carolina, a case called DeMarco versus DeMarco from 2011. Look it up, Google it, whatever you want to do, says in that ruling that our family court is violating parents' rights by locking them up without an option for a jury. If you are going into family court for a rule to show cause, your ex said, hey, you broke this rule, and they're asking for criminal contempt, 30, 60, 90 days, or you're back on child support and you have an option, like usually you come in there, you ain't paid your child support, you're looking at criminal time. They're going to lock you up. So guess what? If you're looking at 30, 60, or 90 days, the 6th Amendment kicks in because you're going to be treated like a criminal. It's no longer a civil action. You're looking at crime, a jail time, and they'll say, oh, no, but it was a civil contempt. No, if you put someone in jail, here's the question. Are they treated civilly or are they treated like a criminal?
They're certainly treated like a criminal.
If they are facing jail time, they have a right to ask, I want a judge not to decide my case. I want a jury to decide if I'm going to jail. Because I know this judge is buddies with my ex's lawyer. It doesn't matter what my lawyer says. I'm going to jail if I go in front of this judge. A jury doesn't care about that relationship. And the last thing is for money. I mean, it's clear. It's a civil amount. Over $20. Family court, child support, alimony, legal fees, guardian fees, they're all over $20. They're all civil amounts. You have the right to ask a jury, just like Georgia does, to hear your case. I mean, any other questions? And if you don't support those juries being able to do this, you don't support our military that gave all, like the men in the room I was standing in that said, some of you in this room are never going to make it out of the United States military alive. I put my life on the line in 1993 on the flight deck in Somalia, and I had some Marine buddies. Like, this ain't cool, man. They didn't do all this for us to have lawyers and judges not following the Constitution. I don't know if anybody can disagree with me.
Well, Carlton, thank you for your time. I look forward to, win, lose, or draw in this election. seeing what you do going forward, because I have a feeling you're not going anywhere on this issue. And,
Oh, absolutely not.
we've seen reform in the circuit court at some level. We'd like to see more circuit court reform. But, here at Fitsnews, we haven't forgotten the magistrate courts. We haven't forgotten the family courts. And it really, it's important that we have candidates like yourself that are pushing those other important aspects of our judicial system.
Don't forget to do probate court. Probate courts are just as bad as family courts, man. They are deciding multi-million-dollar estates and excluding the families, and the lawyers are running up $400,000-$500,000 bills, milking and churning those cases.
You want to talk about probate court? You want to talk about Alex Murdaugh? His fraud was committed in South Carolina probate courts under the nose of South Carolina probate judges. And yes, you make a very good point. We need to have probate court audits standardized. That is definitely something we also need to advocate.
Alex Murdaugh gave money to Mr. Moore, and Mr. Moore has never returned that money that was given to him from Alex Murdaugh to Alex Murdaugh's Victims Fund. That's crazy. You wouldn't have had to tell me but one time that he stole that money. I'd have been calling the prosecutor saying, hey, where'd I write this check to return this campaign contribution?
You're a good man. Thank you for your time, Carlton.
Thank you.